The vast, unforgiving expanse of the Atlantic Ocean holds countless secrets, swallowed by its dark depths or carried adrift on its endless currents. But few tales resonate with the chilling intrigue of the Mary Celeste. A name whispered in maritime lore, a vessel that became synonymous with the inexplicable. It wasn't found shipwrecked. It wasn't sunk. It was simply empty. Adrift. A ghost ship, sailing silently, carrying only the weight of its own profound, unsettling silence. What could compel an entire crew to vanish without a trace? November 7, 1872. New York Harbor teemed with the clamor of departure. Among the bustling docks sat the brigantine Mary Celeste, a sturdy merchant vessel, 103 feet long, weighing 282 tons. At her helm, Captain Benjamin S. Briggs, a man known for his piety, experience, and unimpeachable character. This was no ill-fated voyage-seeking adventure. This was a routine transatlantic crossing, carrying a mundane cargo. A testament to normalcy, before it became a legend of the bizarre. What seeds of tragedy were sown that day? Captain Briggs wasn't sailing alone. A deeply religious man, he brought his family along for the journey, his wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia. This was not uncommon for captains in that era, turning the ship into a temporary home. Their presence underscored the perceived safety and routine of the voyage. Who brings their beloved family into danger? Their very inclusion on board makes the subsequent events all the more perplexing, all the more tragic. A family vanished into the ether. Beyond Captain Briggs and his family, the Mary Celeste carried a crew of 7. First Mate Albert Richardson, Second Mate Andrew Gilling, and Steward Edward Head, all experienced seamen. The remaining 4 were German sailors, Volkert, Boz, Arian, and Boyson. A complement of 10 souls in total, each with their own story, their own dreams. They were diverse, yet united by the common goal of reaching Genoa, Italy. A small community, traversing the vast ocean. And then, silence. A profound, echoing silence. The Mary Celeste's hold was filled with 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol. Denatured crude alcohol, a common shipment destined for Genoa, Italy. Not a glamorous cargo, but valuable. This seemingly innocuous payload would later become a focal point in the relentless quest for answers. A volatile substance, hidden beneath the deck. Could the very nature of what they carried have played a role in their disappearance? Or was it merely a silent witness, offering no clues, only more questions? The voyage began like any other. The Mary Celeste left New York on November 7, 1872, charting a course across the vast Atlantic. A journey expected to take several weeks. There were no storms reported, no distress signals issued. The sea, for all its unpredictable temperament, offered no immediate warnings. Just routine. The calm before a storm of questions. A departure. An anticipation of arrival. But somewhere between these 2 points, something unfathomable occurred. The sea swallowed their story whole. Weeks later, on December 5, 1872, another brigantine, the Dei Grazia, was also making its way across the Atlantic. Captain David Morehouse, a seasoned mariner, spotted a vessel acting strangely some 400 miles east of the Azores. It sailed erratically, sails partly set, but something was profoundly wrong. No flags, no response to signals. It was a sight that would send a shiver down any sailor's spine. A ship, moving with purpose, yet utterly devoid of life. A phantom in the waves. As the Dei Grazia drew closer, the identity of the strange vessel became clear, the Mary Celeste. Captain Morehouse knew Briggs, they had even dined together in New York before their departure. A sense of unease, then alarm, swept through the Dei Grazia's crew. Why was the ship behaving so strangely? Why no response? This wasn't just another ship. This was a ship known to them, now adrift, seemingly abandoned. The closer they got, the more the silence grew, stretching across the waves. Morehouse dispatched his first mate, Oliver DeVoe, and 2 other crewmen to investigate. What they found would etch itself into maritime legend. They boarded the Mary Celeste, stepping from their known world into an unsettling tableau. A ship under partial sail, yet listing slightly. Its course, aimless. Its deck, empty. The air, heavy with unspoken questions. The silence. It was the first thing they noticed. A silence that screamed. The true mystery had just begun. The Mary Celeste was not a wreck. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood, no obvious damage. The cargo, 1,701 barrels of alcohol, was mostly intact. Personal belongings, including Captain Briggs's daughter's piano and Sarah's sewing machine, were undisturbed in their cabins. Food and water provisions remained plentiful, enough for 6 months. It was as if the crew had simply walked away. Into thin air. This wasn't an emergency evacuation. This was something far more unnerving. An orchestrated vanishing act. One critical item was missing, the ship's lifeboat. Its davits, the small cranes used to lower it, were swung out, suggesting it had been launched, not torn away. This implied a deliberate, albeit hasty, departure. But why? If they had abandoned ship, why leave everything else behind? And where did they go? The vast, empty ocean offered no answers. Just endless blue, mirroring the endless questions. A deliberate act of abandonment, but without the dire circumstances to justify it. Adding to the peculiarity, the stern hatch cover was ajar, and the skylight covering the companionway to the captain's cabin was askew. These were not mere oversights, they hinted at a sudden, urgent departure, perhaps even an attempt at ventilation. But ventilation for what? And why leave such critical access points unsecured in the middle of the Atlantic? Each detail piled upon another, building a tower of intrigue, a testament to an event that defied logic. A ship, abandoned in haste. Another perplexing detail, a rope was found cut short. Not frayed or broken by the elements, but cleanly cut. Some speculated it was used as a makeshift towline, perhaps to connect the lifeboat to the Mary Celeste, allowing the crew to stay near their vessel, waiting out some perceived danger. But if so, what danger? And why would they then sever the connection, disappearing forever? The cut rope. A silent accusation. A piece of a puzzle with no clear picture. Despite the disarray on deck, the Mary Celeste was not taking on an alarming amount of water. Only 3.5 feet of water was found in the hold, a manageable amount for a ship of its size, easily pumped out by one man in 20 minutes. This wasn't a sinking ship. This wasn't an emergency that necessitated abandoning ship. The water, a testament to the ship's seaworthiness, only deepened the conundrum. The ship was safe. Yet, they left. Why? Captain Briggs's logbook was found in his cabin, its final entry dated November 25, 1872. It simply stated, cited Santa Maria, Azores. A mere 10 days before the Mary Celeste was discovered. The ship was some 400 miles east of the Azores when found, meaning it had drifted considerably. 10 days. 10 days of untold events. What happened in that span? The logbook offered a final, tantalizing glimpse into their journey, before the entries ceased, abruptly. A story cut short. Amidst the untouched personal effects, two crucial navigational instruments were conspicuously absent, the ship's sextant and chronometer. These were vital for determining the vessel's position and time. Their removal indicated a deliberate act, suggesting the crew intended to navigate, even after leaving the Mary Celeste. Were they taking the lifeboat towards land? If so, why were they never seen again? The missing instruments. A desperate attempt at survival, or a piece of a larger, more sinister puzzle? Upon reaching Gibraltar, the Mary Celeste and its cargo were subjected to a Vice Admiralty Court inquiry. The first officials to inspect the ship were highly suspicious, initially believing Captain Morehouse and his crew of the Dei Grazia had committed foul play, perhaps murdering Briggs and his family for salvage. It was a tempting theory, fueled by greed and the sheer improbability of the abandonment. But the facts, or lack thereof, would soon dismantle this easy explanation. The inquiry ultimately cleared Captain Morehouse and his crew of any wrongdoing. The untouched cargo, the personal valuables, the lack of struggle, these facts made piracy or murder for profit improbable. The Dei Grazia crew was awarded salvage, a fraction of the ship's value, but the process was long and fraught with suspicion. The court still couldn't fathom a reason for the abandonment, leaving the initial investigators frustrated and the public baffled. An official conclusion, but no true resolution. One of the most immediate theories that arose was piracy. Perhaps the Mary Celeste had been boarded, her crew murdered or taken captive. But this was quickly dismissed. Piracy in the Atlantic of 1872 was rare, and crucially, the cargo of alcohol remained untouched. If pirates had boarded, they would have taken valuables, not just the crew. This theory, while sensational, didn't align with the strange clues. The ship wasn't plundered. It was simply deserted. Another grim possibility considered was insurance fraud. Could Captain Briggs have orchestrated the abandonment, hoping to collect on the ship and cargo? This too was quickly refuted. Briggs was a highly respected captain, known for his integrity. Moreover, his wife and young daughter were on board. No man of his character would ever endanger his family for financial gain. The concept was abhorrent, rendering this theory untenable. The character of the captain spoke volumes, absolving him of such deceit. Could a natural phenomenon, like a seaquake, have caused the crew to panic and abandon ship? A sudden, violent tremor could have jolted the vessel, causing fright and perhaps superficial damage. This could explain the stern hatch cover being ajar or the pump disassembled, as crew members might have been assessing damage below deck. But a seaquake alone doesn't explain the missing lifeboat or the crew's total disappearance. It offers a cause for alarm, but not for vanishing. Similarly, a massive waterspout might have struck the Mary Celeste. Such an event, a column of rotating, cloud-filled air, could appear suddenly, causing immense fear and damage. The dislodged skylight or damaged rigging could be attributed to its force. Faced with such a terrifying natural phenomenon, the crew might have quickly launched the lifeboat, believing their ship was doomed. But again, where did they go? Waterspouts are fleeting. The Mary Celeste sailed on. The crew did not. Perhaps the most widely accepted theory involves the cargo itself, 1,701 barrels of industrial alcohol. 9 of these barrels were found empty in the hold. Not broken, but empty. Could escaping alcohol fumes have accumulated below deck? A buildup of flammable vapor, ignited by a spark, could cause a terrifying, albeit contained, explosion. A flash fire. Enough to cause extreme panic, but not enough to sink the ship or leave permanent scorch marks. This theory began to connect many disparate clues. Imagine the scenario: Captain Briggs, alerted to the fumes or a minor explosion, would have ordered the stern hatch opened and the skylight askew for ventilation. Fearing a catastrophic, immediate explosion, he would have called for the ship to be abandoned. The lifeboat quickly lowered, perhaps with the cut rope acting as a towline, keeping them near the seemingly doomed Mary Celeste. They would wait for the fumes to dissipate, then reboard. A logical, if panicked, response. But it still doesn't explain the ultimate vanishing. The silence that followed. If they temporarily abandoned ship, connected by a rope, what severed that vital link? A sudden squall? An unexpected shift in wind or current? Perhaps the rope broke, or was cut loose in a moment of renewed panic, or simply let go by accident. Once separated, a small lifeboat on the vast Atlantic would quickly be lost from sight, its occupants at the mercy of the elements. A tiny speck, swallowed by the immense ocean. This would explain why they were never seen again. A cruel twist of fate, rather than a sinister plot. A more obscure, but equally chilling theory, points to ergotism. The Mary Celeste's cargo included rye flour, a staple that could potentially be contaminated with ergot fungus, especially if stored improperly. Ingesting ergot-contaminated rye can cause severe symptoms, including hallucinations, delirium, and muscle spasms, essentially, mass psychosis. Could the entire crew, including Captain Briggs and his family, have succumbed to a shared delusion, leading them to abandon their ship in a state of irrational fear? A terrifying thought. Despite rigorous investigations and endless speculation, no single theory offers irrefutable proof. Each explanation has its strengths and weaknesses, its proponents and its detractors. The Gibraltar inquiry could not definitively solve the puzzle. Historians and enthusiasts continue to debate, sifting through the few known facts, trying to piece together a coherent narrative from fragments. The ocean, it seems, is a master at keeping its secrets. And the Mary Celeste, its most enigmatic artifact. At the heart of the Mary Celeste mystery lies the profound human element. Fear. Panic. Misjudgment. What combination of events, natural or man-made, could have pushed Captain Briggs, a rational and experienced mariner, to abandon his vessel with his family on board? The human psyche, under extreme duress, can lead to unfathomable decisions. Perhaps the answer isn't a complex conspiracy, but a tragic cascade of human error and unfortunate circumstance. A moment of terror. A decision with eternal consequences. The Mary Celeste has become more than just a ship, it is a symbol. A symbol of the unknown, of the terrifying power of the sea, and of the enduring fascination with unsolved mysteries. Its story has inspired countless books, films, and imaginations, forever cementing its place as the archetypal ghost ship. A vessel sailing aimlessly, a haunting reminder of lives abruptly severed from the world. A chilling tale that continues to beg the question, what truly happened on board? Centuries have passed, but the true fate of Captain Briggs, his family, and his crew remains as elusive as the sea mist. No bodies were ever found. No definitive wreckage of the lifeboat. Just the Mary Celeste, found sailing alone, a silent testament to a vanishing act that transcends logic. The ship itself provides the most compelling evidence, yet its clues only deepen the labyrinth. It is a story without an ending, a question without an answer. The greatest maritime enigma. Without a concrete resolution, the Mary Celeste has become a canvas for imagination. From sea monsters to alien abductions, every wild possibility has been explored. While these sensational theories capture the popular imagination, the true horror lies in the plausible, yet unprovable, scenarios. The terror of a sudden, invisible threat. The despair of being lost on an endless ocean. The chilling truth is often far simpler, and far more unsettling, than any fantastical explanation. What do you think happened? The Mary Celeste sailed the seas for years after its discovery, passing through many owners, ultimately meeting its end in Haiti in 1885, deliberately wrecked for an insurance scam. A mundane, ignominious end for a ship steeped in such profound mystery. But its legacy was already sealed. It wasn't the wreck that made it famous, it was the emptiness. The unanswered question. An echo of a vanished crew, forever adrift in the collective consciousness. The ghost ship sails on, in our minds. The Mary Celeste is perhaps the most famous, but not the only, tale of unexplained abandonment at sea. Countless vessels, throughout history, have been found drifting, empty, leaving behind only questions. What makes the Mary Celeste unique is the sheer abundance of strange, contradictory clues, and the apparent lack of a dire emergency. It's a case study in ambiguity, where every piece of evidence can be interpreted in multiple ways. A perfect storm of mystery. The sea is an indifferent mistress. It takes, and it holds. It offers no explanations, no confessions. The logical conclusion of the alcohol fume theory, combined with a severing of the tow line, seems the most plausible. A quick decision in terror, followed by an unforeseen, tragic accident. Yet, plausible is not proven. And that is where the true power of the Mary Celeste mystery lies. It forces us to confront the unknown, to imagine the unimaginable. To wonder what cold, hard logic truly transpired. Did Captain Briggs, holding his daughter, wave a final goodbye to his ship, believing they would return? Did Sarah look back at their temporary home, her heart pounding with a terror that would never subside? We can only imagine the desperate faces, the hurried goodbyes, the silent prayers. The sea gives us no recordings, no final messages. Only the empty ship. A vessel forever sailing in our minds, carrying its 10 vanished souls, and their untold story, into eternity. The Mary Celeste remains the ultimate ghost ship. Not because of supernatural sightings, but because of the sheer, haunting absence of a logical explanation. Every clue leads to another question. Every theory leaves a gap. It is a perfect enigma, a timeless puzzle. And perhaps, that is its greatest legacy. To remind us that even in an age of science and discovery, some mysteries of the sea, and of the human experience, are destined to remain forever unsolved. Forever drifting. Forever unexplained. One subtle detail often overlooked: while the captain's logbook was found, some of its latter pages were missing. Were they simply torn out by accident? Or did they contain information that, if discovered, might have provided the missing key? This omission only adds another layer to the already dense tapestry of questions. A tantalizing hint that a full account, a complete narrative, once existed. But now, only silence. The silent pages of a lost story. The Mary Celeste's narrative is unbroken by overt violence or destruction. This makes it distinct. No cannon fire, no axe marks, no struggle recorded. Just a ship quietly abandoned. The ship's main rigging was damaged, and one pump was disassembled, potentially indicating an effort to address a minor issue, or perhaps a sudden, unexpected event that caused damage and then prompted the quick exit. An ordinary ship, transformed into an extraordinary mystery. It's possible the crew encountered something truly unexpected. A rogue wave, an unknown vessel, or a localized phenomenon that demanded immediate, desperate action. The sheer speed and totality of their disappearance suggests an event that left no time for deliberation. No time for a proper farewell. Only a frantic, split-second decision to leave the perceived danger behind. The Atlantic, with its vastness, can hide a multitude of sudden, terrifying secrets. The Mary Celeste continued its solitary voyage after the crew's departure, a vessel without a soul, adrift on the currents. For 10 days, between Briggs's last log entry and the day Grazia's sighting, it sailed on, a silent testament to its own resilience, and to the profound emptiness within. A haunting journey, powered by wind and tide, carrying nothing but a story waiting to be told. A story that still holds us captive, over a century later. The ship sailed on. But where did they go? The Mary Celeste forces us to confront not just the unknown, but the limits of human understanding. We crave resolution, yet this tale denies it. It reminds us that some truths are simply beyond our grasp, swallowed by the waves, lost to the winds of time. The true mystery isn't just what happened, but why it continues to captivate us. It's the story of humanity's enduring struggle against the untamable forces of nature, and the chilling realization that sometimes, there are no answers. Only questions. Forever.